Guten Tag, and welcome to the Troubleshooting and Fault Detection training. This is from Tim Hurst as part of the EDX Signature Assessment. Many goals and objectives, reasons for learning troubleshooting fundamentals, but since we're time limited today, we're going to go over just a few of them, the most important ones. Learners will be more knowledgeable and better prepared to deal with complexities associated with the operations and maintenance of their equipment. That is what we're looking for after this course is over, and that is our troubleshooting training objective. Who is the training for? Training is for anyone who wants to learn. It doesn't matter what job you do, it doesn't matter what interest you have, it doesn't matter what your educational background is. Everybody needs some level of troubleshooting ability. So listen up, here we go. What are the benefits of troubleshooting training? Extensive. Many benefits, mostly, but again, since we're limited, we're going to go over just a few of them. The primary ones, maintenance personnel will be better prepared to deal with complexities associated with maintenance of their machines. Whether it's aircraft, boats, doesn't matter. And you also get the satisfaction of discovering what faults there were. It's not going to teach you anything specific, no specific components, devices, or systems, and it will not give you that all-knowing secret that ensures you get it right every time. It teaches you to learn how to learn. Troubleshooting is mostly just a sequence of fault diagnosis in which we analyze malfunctions and use appropriate tests. We identify the source of the problem, do it as efficiently as possible, considering the environment is constantly changing. Human factors is our biggest issue. We're very curious people. We like to see results. So how did we figure it out? There's an art to good troubleshooting, and it gets better with the experience. Use specific strategies, rules, and techniques. It'll help organize your efforts and result in making sure you're a better troubleshooter. There's a logical approach, and we're going to go over something a little different, maybe not what you're expecting. What is logic? Simply knowing the principles of troubleshooting, not enough, since without logical thought process it would be impossible to understand and apply the principles. Logic symbology is something that's used by avionics, aircraft electronics, and other electronic technicians, and if you've seen a schematic, you've seen these symbols before, so let's go over a couple of them. There's a yes symbol. It's looking for a positive input, and it'll make a positive output. If it's not a positive input, it's not making a positive output. If one is missing, if you're missing a positive input, you're not getting a positive output. An AND gate, AND symbol, is looking for two positive outputs. Both must be there or you do not get an output from this circuit, the system. An example would be a light that has two switches, opposite ends of your hallway. Both must be in an on position where you ground the circuit and the light comes on. If one's open, you don't get a light. In an OR gate symbol, we must have at least one positive input in order to get a positive output. This one or that one. Logic symbols are used to express sometimes complex logical relationships in a simplistic fashion. It takes time and experience to get used to these. No big worries. There's many paths of influence will affect how you make your decisions and affect how the systems work. It's the basis for troubleshooting processes. It'll guide us through our process of locating the cause of a malfunction. During the entire process, we reduce the time and effort lost following unrelated areas. Don't let this be overwhelming. But what are we looking at? Knowledge of the system without understanding as to how the system or component should function normally. How would the individual know what is malfunctioning? Once you know how it operates, only then can you attempt to fix it. What we were looking at was the wheel well on a commercial aircraft. We must first back up and look at the overall function of the system that we're having problems with. Sometimes we go directly to familiar areas and we skip the obvious. Occasionally we'll have a discrepancy, what is considered to be abnormal, very difficult to find sometimes. You cannot reproduce the problem. A more easier problem solving technique is a four-step process. And what I mean by the four-step process is that regardless of the restraints and pressures associated with a specific troubleshooting project, the process can be more productive if the troubleshooter has a plan of attack. Four-step plan. Define the situation. What is the problem? What are we looking at? What's going on? How was it reported? Locate the paths of influence. Again, we go back, we want to see what is the influence, what are the impacts, what's going on these different systems that could cause the problem. You might have a system that's turned off. You don't have something working right in that case. We perform functional tests to help narrow down what's working, what's not, what's working correctly, and what's not working correctly even though the system is running. Once we do all of this, we've narrowed down the probable cause of the discrepancy. We'll either take corrective action or repeat the process if we haven't found a solution. Sometimes repeating the process several times we can find the solution. So while there's many techniques and strategies that we find useful throughout the troubleshooting process, although we use elements of these in the four-step process, we can relate them to steps that they are almost always useful. In many scenarios, the failure to troubleshoot efficiently is caused by the problem not being defined correctly. Talk to whoever reported it. Once you've done that, we've learned everything, no, not everything, but many things we need to learn about basic fundamentals of troubleshooting. So thank you for listening. I hope that was enough. And if you have any questions, send me a message over the system, if it's there, and I'll try and answer it to you.